What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. We have a lot to discuss in today's update here after a relatively volatile day in the market with a decent amount of news and curveballs coming at us left and right. So we're going to be talking about the big picture here, and then as always, we're going to be going into some of your guys' favorite names here: Nio, Palantir, Sofi, and AMD, going over the most relevant pieces of news so that you guys can be more well informed in the short term here, and also the charts so that you guys can get a better understanding of what to expect next. So before we get into all of that information, guys, if you guys do enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you guys are, and turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos do end up getting posted live. If you want to join us on the live streams every single day that I do for you guys here at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, we'd love to have you over there. And as always, massive shout out to all of the members of my private trading and investing community, Less Trades, More Profits. Guys, I keep sitting here every single day and telling you that I am just going to keep handing out the absolute best trades in the market. I told you 5, 10x trades ago, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 that I was just going to keep doing this for everybody. I told you guys yesterday some massive moves are coming, and that's where that big GM multi-100%er on the post-earnings move, again, kind of comes out today. So again, for those of you guys that again still need to hop in there with us and take advantage of the 50% off your first month sale with code October, make sure you guys check out that link down below. And again, remember, prices are going up significantly for LTMP, the group there, in the near future at the end of November. So if you want to hop in, lock in the lower rate and make sure that prices never get raised on you, make sure you hop in before then. And kind of as always, guys, if you guys saw how simple and effective everything that we are doing actually is, you would really kind of give the same feedback that everybody who joins LTMP gives, is that they wish they were doing this their entire time that they were operating in the market. So we'd love to have you in there, but without further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, let's kind of go through some of the comments that were made today in kind of the context of what we're seeing out of the moves here in the broad market. So we first saw Trump say that he expects to make a good deal with Chinese President Xi there. Then we saw we're going to do well in that negotiation. And then here comes the curveball, in which kind of drove a little bit of volatility today in the market. Trump says maybe Xi meeting won't happen. Now, guys, how many times have I said this over the last kind of week and a half here? Now is really not the time to be going out in the market and taking on a significant amount of risk. With the elevated levels of volatility, you can size a lot smaller, especially on some of these short-term trades here. And if the moves end up playing out in your favor, well, the gains in terms of percentages are probably going to be a lot larger, but you don't want to be putting any significant amounts of capital at risk. Now, what a lot of these amateur market participants out there will do is they will see times like we are in right now, and especially after the shock that we saw in the market on that Friday a few weeks ago, and they will think that that is something that they need to take action on, either to additionally long or to short or to sell positions. Guys, most of the time in the market, the smartest decision is to end up actually doing nothing, sitting in cash and waiting for the dust to settle. So does this really change anything in terms of the grand scheme of things with the situation that we're seeing in the market now? Not really. We have this very significant volatility zone that those of you guys in LTMP know all about here. It was actually a nasty volatility zone there too. This absolutely epic rejection here that a lot of you guys were able to nail on that Friday there. But if we are able to reclaim this area on S&P 500 futures here between 68.02 to 68.0950 approximately, that would be a very, very strong sign that the buyers have stepped up and overcame a lot of the short-term volatility here, and are kind of going to take everything that Donald Trump says as we get into this November 1st deadline with a massive grain of salt. So let's start getting into a couple of these individual names here, guys, give you a little bit of an update. The first one is Nio. Now, Nio is down 3% today. And doesn't really have the best daily chart here, but when we take a look at the weekly, we are still in a very solid spot, just making these stair steps to the upside here. Again, those of you guys in LTMP will know this was one of the 30 10x trades that I had handed out to the group there with the way that we operate in the market. over the last 3 months. So congratulations to all of you guys that were nailing those. But at the end of the day, like I say a lot with Nio, it's just going to come down to whether or not they are able to meet the goals that they have outlined to their shareholders over the last couple of years here. And as we talked about yesterday, they are really starting to put their foot to the gas here, with Nio's William Lee reiterating the Q4 profitability target in an internal meeting. But we also got some relatively positive news for Nio today as well. Nio delivers over 10,000 cars last week as Onvo L90 hits record high. The Nio main brand delivered over 4,000 units last week, Onvo over 5,000, and Firefly over 1,500. The Onvo L90 is expected to reach its 30,000th delivery this week, which, remember, when Onvo was initially rolled out, Nio had a lot of issues getting these units to their consumers in a very efficient manner. So what it looks like is they've solved a lot of these problems here. And this could easily serve to really kind of elevate the consumers' overall confidence in Nio as a brand, and seeing Onvo and Firefly continuing to sell a lot of units here. That is Nio trying to play the volume game in order to make sure that they can hit these profitability targets. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be really focused on what's happening with Nio in the short term here. Again, if there's going to be another awesome trade setup on Nio, I will tell you. The last one that I identified was about what was it, this move, the $5 breakout all the way up to this 685 area here. That was a 10x trade in the options market at a bare minimum for all of the people in LTMP that nailed this. We're not really seeing anything significant or really enticing for me right now out of Nio, and we do have earnings coming up in the middle of November here, which again is going to give us a little bit of a better picture into how Nio has been doing over the last quarter. So again, not a whole lot to do with Nio in the short term here, but those shares that I was outlining for everybody at $4.55, in which I bought 4,000 shares at, are looking really solid right now. So moving on here, taking a look at Palantir, again, Palantir is effectively in the same spot it has been over the last couple of days and weeks, with a really strong, a kind of midterm bullish setup here with this period of weekly consolidation. Now, it's getting more and more likely that Palantir is going to continue chopping around in this range as the market waits for their next quarter's results here. So again, we could end up using that post-earnings strategy, very similar to what you guys saw the results of that GM trade there that the LTMP group was able to nail today. If Palantir does qualify for that, to end up catching this move to the upside if they do have a very positive reaction to their earnings. But as of right now, if you guys were entering Palantir, where I was outlining this one at $15 a share for you guys, it's currently at 181. You guys are sitting pretty in this name here. This is not one that you want to go out in the open market and long, but it's definitely not one that I would go out in the open market right now and take a short position against or bet against. And they also, again, as they have proven time and time again, are doing everything they need to do on their side to grow their commercial revenue side and the government revenue side. Now, obviously, the market over the last kind of 2 years here has given Palantir a very aggressive valuation, but Palantir, again, and the executives, the C-suite, and everybody working at Palantir seems to be really focused in on just doing everything they need to do in order to grow their business, and the market is going to react however they want to there. So again, CMS signals interest in Palantir for National Provider Directory project there. So again, another very strong, potentially strong contract coming for Palantir in the near future. Now, I briefly want to touch on SoFi here before we get into AMD. Again, very similar to Palantir, really strong weekly setup, has earnings coming up on Monday. So again, this could be another one that could use that post-earnings strategy that is quite honestly the easiest trading strategy in the market once you guys understand what the rules actually are and what the results can actually generate. But again, once you guys hop into LTMP, you guys will see all the details of that in the course curriculum section there. But again, very solid chart here going into earnings. At the end of the day, the chart is not going to determine what happens on a company's earnings here. The market, again, is going to really balance out a lot of the time before a company reports their earnings. Those of you guys that watch all the live streams that I do every single day for you guys on here will notice something that we talk about a lot when NVIDIA is about to report earnings is it usually has an awesome setup as it's going into its earnings event. And the reason for that is that it could potentially make a little pre-earnings run up, but the market is really just waiting and bracing for what's to come on that actual event. So it makes sense that there are those periods of consolidation before those big binary events here. So nothing really to do on SoFi, but the last one here, AMD, we are starting to see some very interesting action here. Now, after that OpenAI partnership announcement, we have seen some very solid action out of AMD and a nice period of consolidation at these highs here, looking to break to the upside, potentially making a run all the way to 300. Now, you guys should probably all know this. If you guys have been paying attention to this channel for any period of time here, AMD is the largest holding across my portfolios here. I own a bunch of shares at $11.39, and I would love to see this one go all the way up to that $300 area here in things like this. AMD and Oracle expanding partnership to deploy next generation AI supercluster here with MI450 GPUs. Again, seeing a lot of this collaboration in the kind of hardware and software, and again, just the AI space in general here is going to be positive for the foreseeable future for a lot of these AI companies here. And again, AMD right now is set up on the charts to make a pretty significant move to the upside if the overall market is going to hold up here. So, for example, if we are to see some positive developments coming out after this November 1st deadline or these talks between China and the US, we easily could see that being the macro catalyst that lets the overall market starting to head higher, and AMD being a leader in that environment. So, guys, that is going to wrap up this video here. If you guys did enjoy the information and analysis that I provided for you guys in this one, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you guys are and turn on notifications. And for those of you guys that are taking that right step there and hopping into LTMP with us, again, welcome. We're going to get you guys going in the right direction. And I can't wait for one of you guys to be the next great success story. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'll see you next time. Peace.